Okay. We're going to get started now.
Ashley, if there's music, we can't hear anything. Or is it supposed to be music?
Okay, well, hello. We'll get started in a second. Sorry for all the tech stuff and being late, but it's worth the wait, I promise. We're going to get started now. Thank you so much for being with us. This is the Thrive by Design Sacral Hub live stream. So we're going to be talking about the Sacral Hub and going into one of the archetypes there. So if you are joining us in the Zoom room, please think about what gate you want to vote on, which archetype you'd like us to speak on, because we're going to speak on one archetype today, and those that are inside the Zoom room will get to pick. So we'll see what the majority says, and then we'll talk about it. So let's get started. I'm going to share our intro again, and we'll be right back. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being live with us on this Thrive by Design live stream. So as you've seen, we are going into the Sacral Hub, and we call these hubs instead of centers because they are where the archetypes that we've created in the 64 doors are, where they gather around. So we're going to call the center's hub. So that's the language that we're using if you're kind of, what is a hub? Why are they saying hub instead of center? So today we're going to go into the Sacral Hub, and we're going to talk a little bit about the sacral. And then, like I said earlier, we're going to go into one of the archetypes. So this is actually the Thrive by Design series as part of the Inner Circle membership. So we explored the Root Hub last month. And if you were at our Thrive by Design masterclass, we went through all the different hubs. And then inside the Inner Circle, we went into the Root. And so now we're going to go into the sacral, and all of December will be about sacral energy. And this energy is all about life force. It's about sensuality, and it's also about creativity. So I'm going to hand it over to Bella. And Bella, if you could bring us into the sacral and kind of tell us a little bit about it.
This is my favorite place. This is the sacral. This is the sensual. This is where our life starts. It's where we connect to the other. We have the 59 here, for example. We have the natural rhythms in the 5. This is where you flow with life. This is where you create life through sexuality with the other. This is where you come home, and it has this like warm orange color. It's very connected to the root chakra, of course. It's very connected to the attraction sphere as well in your gene key profile. It has this magnetic quality, and it's here to be, it's here to merge with others. And I think that that's the thing we can speak about. We are going to speak about more, maybe not today, but depending on if it's defined or if it's open, you are going to merge with the other in a different way. If it's defined, it's you that is influencing the other in that merging. If it's open, you get to have like all these love stories where you get to feel other people's life force. Simply with one word, it's life force, it's creativity. And that is what we use to procreate, but it's also what we use in business, is what we use when we are artists in the world. So it's about your expression in the world, it's about your response in the world. And in a human design sense, it has this innate ability to go towards things or retract from things. So it's a response in the now, a response in the flow that we call sacral response, and that many generators or manifesting generators have forgotten about. It's about remembering, what is a sacral yes, what is a sacral no, how does it feel?
Yeah, so I would say, is since we have had Thanksgiving in the US and we're going to have Christmas, we're around a lot of family and we're being invited to a lot of get-togethers possibly. And it's going to be important for us to really tune into, like Bella said, that sacral response. If you are a generator or a manifesting generator, it is important for you to hone on that and that and feel that pull and feel that pulse. Because as soon as you say yes to something that is actually a sacral no, you're not going to have that life force energy, and it's going to be depletive. You're going to feel like you lost energy. You're going to feel like, oh, I don't feel enlivened. I feel depleted. And that's your indicator. And also frustration is another keynote if you do have that defined. Anybody that has the sacral defined is a generator or manifesting generator. It is. And if you don't, then you're either a projector, a reflector, or a manifester. That sacral center is very, very much connected to the energy type of generator and manifesting generator. So, and I see a lot of people inside the Zoom with us. They have a defined sacral. A couple people have undefined, but the majority is defined. Why is that? Because 70% of the population are either generators or manifesting generators, and they're the ones that are creating the life force energy. So you saw that, and we said that life force, sensuality, creativity, those are kind of the keywords of the center. And it's important for us that are generating the life force, that we are putting out this pure energy instead of all this frustration, all of this like saying yes when you really mean no. Other people are going to feel this sacral energy. So if you are in your not self, that's what you're generating and putting out into the world. Just like someone who has a defined emotional center and they're on a wave and they're projecting and they're putting all this energy out, people are going to feel it. And anyone that has an open sacral, it's going to be amplified. So it's going to be really good for us all to really tune into this center, whether you have it defined or undefined, and clean it out and reset it and come back to its natural thriving state of abundance. And that's going to take a lot of deconditioning in some ways for those that have it open and those that have it closed. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you think would be important to mention about this, Bella, before we get into the archetype?
I think this is the most important center. When I came on and I saw somebody was saying, Paula was saying in the chat, like I was still feeling the root energy, because that's where we start usually. For me, this center is the most important one after we have that when we have the basic survival in the root. So we feel safe enough. We feel like we have shelter. We feel like we have food. When we have those basic things, that's when we can evolve in a way into our sacral, and we can live from that place. I think if the sacral doesn't work, 70% of the population, generators and manifesting generators, are off balance, and they're going to not be able to live their strategy and authority in the world. So here there is something extremely important. And for 30% of the population, which are the other aura types, they are going to constantly be flooded by sacral centers that are in a low frequency or in the not self. So I believe that this is extremely, extremely, extremely important. And, I know that today we're kind of just doing an introduction, but I feel, I was sitting with this also yesterday. I feel like there are so many places, important places, that we want to go to turn this on for people to have it defined, and also understanding the conditioning, because I think that many open sacrals are even using the energy that they feel from the sacral. But the same thing as we were speaking about in the root is like those ingredients or those gates that are there, you are not supposed to be conditioned by them and live on them. So if you are a projector that lives with 2 generators, so somebody in the chat, and you constantly feel like you get energy because you're around them, you actually want to go a little bit deeper and see, is that the way that you're supposed to function? Are you riding on somebody else's waves? I mean, that could be the same thing as coffee or some other stimulant. Here it is to find the way that your sacral wants you to move through life. And I believe that is both if you are defined and undefined. There is a way that you're here to channel life force, and you don't want that to be conditioned. You don't want to forget that part of you. And it's so important here, I believe, if you are a manifesting generator or a generator and you have a split, I would absolutely see how you have been conditioned to live from the split. So I'm an example of I have my root, I have my sacral, I have my spleen. That's like one compartment of my chart. Then I have my throat and my G. In my G, I have my whole incarnation cross, and I have my IQ and my EQ. So I have 6 out of 8 gates in the G center. And when I was working with John Martin years ago, when I was doing my certification, he said, Bella, you're 4-6 with all your incarnation cross plus the 25 and the 46 in the G. You are here, and you think you want to be a fussy projector that just want to guide humanity. I have the 31-7 to something more beautiful, but that's not who you are. You are an egoist. You are here to think about yourself. You have the 34-57. You are here to be powerful in the moment. And if you are out of here, if something happens, you're out of there. There's no, people can follow you or they can stay. But it's so easy for me with that 31-7 in the hub that I have in the throat and in the G to be that. I'm a 4-6. I can be that all day long. But here, when it comes to our sacrals, our vitality, when I tune into my split and I become my split, I'm never going to have vitality that's going to last for 100 years. And I've had a lot of symptoms of burnout in different phases of my life. So for me, it's about coming back to your sacral, understanding how that works, understanding how life force moves through you. And it starts from the bottom of the chart. We started with the root last time. You need that basic safety. And if you have fight or flight, if you have your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system that are not in balance, that's of course where you want to start. But the next place where you go that has to be inhabited by you and by nobody else is your sacral.
Yay. And you see, Bella only has the Black Panther in her sacral, and this is like the expression of her sacral. So and you can see that she has like the 31-7 that she was talking about. This is in her personality side. So, in her design side. The 34-57 is really strong in her. She has it both on the personality and on the design side. And so Bella is going to have that. Her sacral is going to express as that Black Panther, because that is the gate that it's being channeled through. I love that you said channeling the sacral energy, because you are channeling that sacral energy that's defined, that consistent energy, and it's going through your their Black Panther. And for people that are open or completely open, meaning they have no gates, that's what they're going to feel from you, is that 34 Black Panther energy. And that is what they're going to experience. And that's also what they can be conditioned. If you're around somebody like the projector that lives with all the generators, you can be conditioned by that sacral center and how it operates. So,
and one thing there, Ashley, it's super important that you say that. And I have that in my family. I have the 57-34 twice, and that's the power channel. It has the power to survive whatever happens. It has the intuition to feel what's going to happen. It has the power to get out of there. My dad has all the integration circuitry. So 57-34, 10 and 20. My mom is an emotional projector, and she was always conditioned to go in our pace, but there's nothing about her that is our pace. So for her, she has burned out. that's for sure. So yeah, I see I see what you're, I think, yeah, I see what you're saying. And I feel like it's important to be careful when you are around people that have like a strong sacral,
Yes.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Bedtime always works out best when my husband puts the baby to bed, because if I'm still awake and I'm not tired, she won't go to sleep. She's a reflector. She is an open sacral. And so she's gonna stay up with me. And I've noticed that when I come into the room and she's like sitting on my husband, and he's a projector, he doesn't have a sacral defined. And both of them sitting together, they don't make the sacral defined either. They're chilling out, they're relaxing. I come in and then all the chaos ensues and all the energy starts coming. And I have 3 manifesting generator boys. So my poor projector husband and reflector daughter, they are always in the soup of all of this sacral energy. So it's important for them to have time to themselves and away from our auras. My daughter is 2 and she sleeps in her own bed. She has to, because she needs to empty out her centers. Okay, let me share our website with you so that you can see.
And I think one more thing, because while you're doing, if you have a channel that goes from your sacral, because that's what Ashley and I were speaking about now with the 3457 in my case, and that's just my case and my dad's case. But if you have any channel that goes from the sacral, that is going to be like the main thing. So it's going to be 2 archetypes that work together. So if I have the intuitive and the Black Panther, and they together are stronger than any hanging alone archetype, so you really want to go and see there is a theme that is going to be consistent. And it's also, where are your sacral center connecting to? Is it to the spleen, so you're kind of splenic sacral, or is it to the emotional, so that you are sacral emotional? You want to look where it's going, because that other center on the other side of the channel that's also going to be defined is going to have a lot of impact, because it's going to be part of your definition. It's going to be part of your inner authority possibly. So if you have a lot of hanging gates in one channel, the channel is the most important thing to understand first, because that's consistent. It's there. It's creating definition. It's a theme that you're here to live out. Yes or no. You can live it out in a low frequency or in a high frequency, but you can't avoid living it out.
Yes. Okay. So as you can see on the screen, we have the Sacral Hub up here. We made a page dedicated to the Sacral Hub. We actually have all of the pages up. They're not all going to be unlocked until they're ready. We have the Root Hub ready on here. And then we have a page that has all the 9 hubs. And if you're curious about the archetypes that live in these hubs, we have the picture of the sacral here with all the gates, and then below we have all of the archetypes that live here, so you can just go and check out all of these. And remember, since these archetypes live inside the sacral, they share the same theme of life force, sensuality. They're all going to be channeling that life force energy. For like that Bella was saying with the channel, they're channeling it towards those centers that they're pointing to. So we have the Nourisher and the Black Panther. They're channeling that energy to the splenic hub. The Rhythmic, the 5, the Powerhouse, the 14, the Water Goddess, the 29, they're channeling it to the Identity Center. And then the 59 is channeling, it's the only sacral gate that channels to the solar plexus hub. Then we have the 42, the 3, and the 9. These are format energies that go between the root and the sacral. They're very powerful. They're bringing more of that fuel to the sacral to deliver format energy. They take over your whole chart. So the 42, the 3, the 9, if you have these channels, I have the 42 and the 53, this channel, it's all about cycles and rhythms, this is about rhythms, but it's all about cycles. And so I'm going to constantly be initiated into new cycles, and then old ones will die. And so there's a lot of endings and beginnings, and it's for growth, it's for expansion, it's for maturation, and you can't avoid it. It just comes. It's just going to deliver it. That's what you have the fuel for, and that's what's connecting it. So I'd love to see in the chat, what do you have defined? I know some of you are joining us through Facebook, so check out your sacral hub and let us know, what archetypes do you have here? What is defined for you? And let us know too in the chat on Facebook, if you are joining us, or YouTube, is your sacral defined or undefined? Because that really that matters with what gates are defined in here. If again, you're waiting for that light switch to turn on to have the energy to then channel it through these if it is open, or you're having that consistent energy that just goes through, like Bella's with the 3457. Okay, thank you for sharing what you guys have in the chat. Okay, so we're gonna get into one of these archetypes, and Bella was able to create a poll right inside of our Zoom. Yay!
It should pop up for you guys somewhere.
It popped up. So what archetype do you want to hear about? These are all the different archetypes that live inside the sacral. So please click one and think about which one you want us to speak about. And you can, and then the majority, whichever wins, we'll talk about. Oh, it says hosts and panelists can't vote. I can't vote, Bella. Boo. Awesome.
I mean, I'm looking at the sacral now as we're waiting for the poll, and there is just so much variety or versatility. If we look at the 43, 3, and 9, I mean, these are these are channels of depression, you know, when they can't connect to the hub, to the root hub in a way so they can channel the energy through concentrations or through cycles, like you're saying, or through the pulse mutation. They can feel so frustrated, and they can kind of be you know, depressed and frustrated in the low, but they have to do with that pulse and fuel that has to do with the root. And then the 5, 14, and 29, they're all tantric, and they are about energy circulation, but it's very different kind of circulation in the 5, the 14, and the 29. They all have their rhythm and their flow, you could say, and they work very, very closely with the gate on the other side. The 29, 46 is like saying yes to the experience until it's over. You jump into the abyss and it's a full yes. And the 14 and the 2, that's the keeper of the keys, and they are here to unlock anything together. They take that pure energy from the sacral and they bring it up to a direction that is viable, a direction that is going to be fruitful. And then the 515, it's all about the inherent rhythms of Gaia, of plants, of animals, and it has this thing that even if it's collective, when you see somebody with a 515, you're like, okay, it's going to be their rhythms or no rhythms. I'm not going to have any way of influencing their rhythms. So either I can tune into it because it's collective and contagious, or I have to stay away. And then the 34, we spoke about it. The 27 is tribal with the 50. So it's going to be about the nourishment of the tribe, very tribal in its sense. And the 59 is part of the channel with the 6. So it's a wave, but it's not really a wave as some of the other waves. When we look at the emotional center, it's actually not always we can even feel the wave, because this 59, 6 are there to feel like, can I penetrate? Can I have intimacy? Is this possible? So it has that kind of discernment of what's possible with the other in aura. That's just a very spontaneous and like kind of walk through.
That was great, Bella. Somebody did ask in the chat, what did you mean by depression when you were talking about?
I mean, if you think about the archetype, this is really the archetypes. If you think about the archetypes, they love to be in a process together with their best friend, which is the harmonic gate. So the 42 loves to be with the 53, because the 42 is like, let's finish this project so we can do something else. Let's get it done. But you know, if it wouldn't have the 53, then it wouldn't actually even know what to begin, because it's so good at ending, so it wouldn't know what to begin. So when you just know how to end, it can be really depressing because you don't know what to begin. The 3 just wants to play and be the eternal child and all that. But if it doesn't have a structure, if it doesn't have a playground where there is sand or where it can use the thing to play with, well, then it's going to be depressed, because it doesn't have that structure that the 60 is providing. And the 9 has all the energy in the world to focus. But if it doesn't have the 52, there is no staying power of concentration. So it can have all the power in the world, but it's still going to be in inertia, or it's going to be in in kind of just going around in circles without actually having the staying power with the 52. So they are, maybe we could say, I wonder if there is a little bit more like depression in the side of the root, and there's a little bit more frustration in the side of the sacral when it comes to those format energies between the sacral and the root.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or stress, I mean, in the root. It's like, let me find my other person. Yeah. Okay, so what was the results of the poll? We had some people in the chat mentioning about the 34 voting for the 34. I think 7 people voted.
Oh yeah, I think maybe I didn't do like
it's okay. It's
on the last,
the Black
Panther. It was the last one I put in, and maybe I didn't like that choice.
How many people? Where was what one in the poll?
Oh my God, we have 2 that are the same. So the 5 and the 14 both have 19%. It's very much like it's almost the same for many of them.
Oh gosh. Well.
But I guess, yeah, the 5 or the 5 or the 14.
They had the most votes. Did it say the number of votes or just as percentage?
Yeah, it's the percentage.
Okay. Let's see. So I think that's about,
well, actually there are 20% that didn't vote. So if you want to kind of chime in,
those were the people that wanted the Black Panther.
Oh my God, then we should do the 34 because then that's 20%.
Yeah, because I just looked and I was like, oh, there's more people who voted for it's interesting. The one that was left out, everyone's like, wait a second, we need the Black Panther. Okay. All right. Well, let's go into the Black Panther. So again, the Black Panther, the 34, this is pointing towards the splenic hub, which Bella already mentioned. The Black Panther and the intuitive are kind of BFFs over here, and they're reaching for each other. Part of the purpose of the 34 with the 57 has this fear of the future, of the unknown. It has this unease. The 34 is going to kind of help be guided by the intuitive, right, Bella? How would you say the 34 gets expressed through you and like in general, this Black Panther energy?
There is an enormous power here, and especially when it's connected to the 57, then it has that ability to sense into things in the addition. But like just the 34 in itself, it is a power, and you can see those people. Like you can see them in a room and they have an energy about them. It's very interesting. If we look at the sacral center, we were saying in the beginning, it's sensual and sexual. That's just the way it is, because it's here when we have our basic needs. When our basic needs are covered, we are here to live and to procreate and to merge with other. But the 34 is the only gate in the sacral that is asexual. And actually, it's kind of on and off. And this is where I think that my mom, possibly, and people that know me, sometimes I'm just not available, because all the gates that are in the integration channels, the 34, the 10, the 57, and the 20, they are here to be busy with their own thing. So the 34, I mean, it can be available for sexuality. It could, but it's like, it's going to be, yes, I'm available or I'm not. And it's going to feel like it's kind of deaf for outside influence. It's not really interested in the other. When the panther is hunting, it's not like it's saying, oh, do you want to hunt with me? There are things that the 34 is just going to be so immersed in, and it's going to often be something physical. It's going to be, and we know that the 34 is also connecting to the 20. So it's that manifesting generator energy. So you know how manifesting generator, they can just look busy and have a million things going on. And that is the thing. I'm not available. But when I'm available for sex, I'm really available, and I put a lot of power into it, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So like Bella mentioned, I mean, some of the archetypes are just bridging with one other archetype, and the 34 is really special because it's kind of polyamorous. It's like, I'm going to be with the 57. I'm going to be with the 10. I'm going to be with the 20. I like to have variety. And it's so indicative of the 34 because it's such a multitasker. It is going to be busy, and it's going to be busy doing multiple things. It's going to be like here and there. And it has the bandwidth because it's especially if it's using its intuition. It's like it knows where to put its energy in the now. It knows who to be in the now. It's just like, it's very instinctual. And it's just like, it's not a mental thing either. It's the sacral is not a mental center. It is like life force, sensuality, creativity, and it's channeling that. So it's like you can't help but feel pulled to eat, to have sex, to whatever it is. It's like you are pulled to that activity, and you just know that that's what your body is saying yes to.
And I would say a really important thing, I mean, you can take anything to where you want. Like you can, if you have a goal, you can take things there, but it's important to be like, is this worth it to put my energy on? Because that's what we can see in the low frequency of force, that the 34 actually can use energy for things that aren't completely worth it. So look at where you're putting your precious energy. The sacral center is all about, if you have the sacral defined, it's about energy expenditure. Like, how are you using your energy? Because at the end of the day, your mood, your way of, not really mood, but the way you feel is going to be dependent on how you used your energy that day. So if you have that much power as the 34, you want to use it wisely, because if you didn't, you're going to be a very frustrated panther at the end of the day. You have like not used it for the things that were essential for you, the hunting, the sunbathing, the fun, the play. You haven't climbed 3 trees probably. You have done it, you have used your energy in a way so that you're just frustrated. But if you are a panther that are doing all these things that are essential for your uniqueness, because the integration circuitry is part of, the integration channels is part of the individual circuitry. It's all about you and the way that you uniquely live and show up in the world. So if you use your energy that's uniquely right and satisfactory for you, you're going to feel really satisfied at night. Your big panther muscles might be tired, but you're going to feel so satisfied because you've used it in a way that was uniquely right for you. So remember that this is an individual gate. We have gates that are collective, like the 27, where you care about the tribe and nurturing the tribe. We have gates that are collective, like, for example, the 515, even if that's a kind of weird collective gate. But if you have the 515, the 5 is going to influence everybody else with the rhythm. The 34 doesn't really care about influencing anybody. It just wants to go about its own thing. But when people see this power, they are inspired and empowered to be like, oh, I can be me. I get to be me. I get to be busy with what I love. I get to use my energy the way, like, this is really, we need these kinds of role models that are just completely feeling worthy of climbing the trees and doing the things that they love and sunbathing. And you can see that the panther is not using his explosive energy or his explosive energy all the time. It's very actually explosive when it uses it, but it also knows how to relax. So this is something to remember for manifesting generators that have the 3420, or even people that have that 3457, or even the 10. You're not here to be busy all the time. I don't believe. You're here to actually be grounded in your root, where there is this balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic. When you hunt, and then you shake it off. And then you actually are in your parasympathetic until next time the sympathetic needs to turn on and you need to fight or flight or do something with your energy. So I would say that is important to also be able to turn off the activity in the 34.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you had the sacral defined and you had the 34 and you were just busy, you have to also ask yourself, like, what is the purpose of this busyness and this energy? Because it could be that you're stuck in that sympathetic and you haven't shaken it off. And so you're just like moving and avoiding what needs to be resolved and inside of you. Like if there is some kind of fight or flight response, and it's easy to go into that busyness to avoid dealing with it. As humans, animals, they know when they're done with the hunt or being chased or they get away, they shake it off, like Bella said, which as humans, we think about things and we're like, I don't have time to deal with this emotion. I don't have time. And it just stays in our body. And that's not helping anyone. So with Bella talking about the power of the 34, if it's in the repressed state, they're afraid of their own power, and then they give their power to somebody else. So it's like they're giving their life force, they're giving that sacral energy, they're giving that to another authority. And so that in the Gene Keys frequency, that one's called self-effacing. And that is afraid of your power or giving your power away to that other authority. People who don't know how to channel that power, and like it's individual circuitry, like Bella was saying, it's like they're busy doing their own thing. Somebody comes in and they're like wanting them to try something else, or they're wanting them to be pulled this way, or maybe the Black Panther wants more help. They could end up being like bullish, and they could end up trying to make everybody do what they want to do, which what that Black Panther wants to do. So that's not helpful either. So either afraid of your power or using your power over other people. So I think just like the warrior that we like talked about in the root, he needs to know how to wield his sword. The 34 needs to know how to use his power, her power, in a healthy way. So
yeah, I mean, actually, that especially to a warrior, I'm writing it in the chat as well. The warrior is the 38, and it's kind of funny if we're speaking about the warrior and the Black Panther. They both have this energy of fighting and struggle and force in the lower frequency. So if you have both the 34 and the 30 and the 38, which I happen to have in two of my three channels, I have the 38, 30, 28, and I have the 57, 34. So for me, there is this thing where I can kind of go to the last drop of blood, and I think that is doing my best. There is this belief that doing my best is to use all my power, all my force to the last drop of blood. And I would say, if you have the 34 or if you have the 38, and you weren't here last time, that is a possibility. And that is more the reactive way of using them. You just go because you can. And there is something, very, that is a conditioned thing. Just because I can, I'm going to do it. I wouldn't, that's not something that we should advise anybody to do. So use your energy in a way that is healthy. And there was one question I saw, okay, what's the purpose of this busyness in this energy? Well, this is the sacral center, and it's a motor. And you know that if you stop a motor completely, you have a motorcycle and you park it somewhere, and you buy a car, you don't use your motorcycle, but one day the traffic is crazy and you're like, I need to get there fast, let me get my motorcycle. And then suddenly your motor, the engine doesn't start because it stopped. So we have this life force that is always flowing in the sacral. You don't want to turn it off, but the busyness is the low frequency. But the fact that it's always responding to life, the biggest misunderstanding about people that have the sacral defined is, what is it? What was I going to say? Is that they have to wait around to have something to respond to. It's an energy system that is always doing like this, like what I'm doing with my hands. There's always something to respond to. And if you get stuck in inertia, the 9 where the sun and Mercury is right now, for example, or if you get stuck in any of those shadow patterns, that's where the energy circulation can get stuck or can get off balance. And that's where your flow in life, it's either going to be too much on or too much off. So the busyness is low frequency, but the energy circulation of constantly responding to life in a flow and in kind of a play, that is there. And I am actually going to have to go in, because in 3 minutes I have to do the Spanish call. If you are in the Pearl sequence in Spanish, you can come. I actually wanted to do what we did last time. Actually, were we going to say that we are giving away a month in the inner circle for somebody that is inside?
Possibly inside the Zoom call. So yeah, let me pull this up. So thank you. Okay, so first of all, the Sacral Hub, if you go on our website, and if you're interested in this link, you can ask for it in the comments. And then for those of you that are in the Zoom room, we'll post it in the chat too. If you're wanting to check out other of the archetypes in here, you can get more information on the Black Panther. There's a description there by going to the 64 doors. You're just going to click on this. It's going to go there, and you can get all these other archetypes as well. And then for those of you that are joining us for this masterclass, or sorry, it's not a masterclass, a live stream. My 5 is totally like, oh fudge, Bella has to leave. Like I'm kind of thrown off. You're like going in all these directions. And I got to get off in 3 minutes. I'm like, what timing? What? We're late. What's happening? So my 5:15 channel is kind of like freaking out a little bit right now. And I'm like, I don't feel like we're ending, because I have the 42. It's the Nomad and it's closure. And I don't feel completion here. So if Bella has to hop off, I'm probably going to close it out. But what I wanted to say was that inside, what is happening here, that inside the inner circle, we're actually going into the Sacral hub this whole month. And so we're going to have an embodiment call next week. And we are going to continue on the Thrive by Design journey where we're going through all the different centers. So if you want more of the Sacral, if you would like to continue with us in the inner circle, you can comment in the chat here in the Zoom, or you can comment in the comment section wherever you're at in YouTube or Facebook, and we'll get you that link. But the inner circle is $44 per month, and you'll have a teaching call with us. You'll have the embodiment call. The teaching call will be recorded and dropped, and the embodiment call is going to be live. That's going to be next Tuesday. And you can get more information on the Inner Circle website, where it'll list everything out. So that's about it for our live stream. And if those of you that are inside the Zoom container, if you can stay, we have something special for you because you did join us in the Zoom container. So thank you so much for those of you who joined us live on Facebook and YouTube. We're going to stop streaming now, and reach out to us if you're interested in the Inner Circle and the continuation.
And actually, just before you stop, I would say, this is so cool because we just actually spontaneously did something. And this is the difference between what we do in the inner circle. In the inner circle, everything is kind of, it's spontaneous, but it's on a structure. So today you came into the energy and it's like this. So if you want to learn this and feel this and open this energy and not just hear about it, that's what we are going to do inside. And I'm kind of happy in a way that we have to end, because usually we give everything away. And then we then we have to go so deep, which is good. But I would say, if you want something more structured, if you want to have all your questions answered, then come on the inside and we can go deep together and more systematically look at the energies of the circuitry, of the hub, and of everything that is connected here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for being with us live, and people that are in the Zoom, please stay on. We'll answer your questions, and we also have a special for you. So thank you so much. Did you want to stop the live stream, Bella? Because I can't.